Bada boom, realest one in the room. How you doing? It's your boy Enzo. I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud. You already know you can't teach that. But another thing you can't teach, good podcasting. And if you want to listen to a good podcast, Mad Hatter Shows. And go to madhattershows.com. It's the bomb. How you doing?
Okay, folks, there's two things in this country I like doing most. That's standing up for America. Another one's watching the madhattershow.com. Check it out. You're going to love it. I love you all. Bye.
Yo, what's up? This is Pauly Shore, and I'm hanging out with my friends that do the Mad Hatters. I just did my show, so I'm a little crusty, bro. But I'm just chilling, and we're here, so check them out. Later.
What's up, y'all? It's Drix here, and check it. Mad Hatter Shows always brings a party, so you know where the party's at.
What's up? This is Big Smo, and this whole night was crazy. If you want to get with it like I get with it, madhattershows.com, baby. You got to come get with them.
And we lead off tonight's show with celebrity endorsements. Every week we get better. How you doing? It's the Mad Hatter Shows podcast. I'm Neil Snyder. This is Danielle Hoffman. We are back for another one of our live Facebook vodcasts, which will also soon be played on podcasts.
Did you see that? Just my nose in that clip.
Yeah.
It's huge. Sorry.
We were supposed to get all this out of the way last time when you were debuting, and
I'm
we're
so
already...
sorry.
It's already chaos, but this is live. We're going to keep going. Thank you guys for tuning in to Mad Hatter Podcast. This is going to be a special show here tonight. Two different country music stars will be joining us today. If you don't know why you're watching this, because you're a fan of a venue or one of these musicians, and you're like, why is this guy on my feed? Mad Hatter Shows is an entertainment company. We book live music. We book occasionally pro wrestling special events, primarily stand-up comedy. We're a regional promotion for the most part, but we've kind of expanded in 2021 to all over the place. Florida this weekend, actually. We're going to be in Jacksonville with Donnie Baker. So, wherever you're watching this, tune in to madhattershows.com. Check us out, see if there's any events you want to come see. The last thing we did with the podcast was with Haywood Banks a couple of weeks ago, and we did the weekend shows with Haywood. I think we've got a photo to show what it looked like in Plainfield. And there we go. We had a big full room for one show and a little bit smaller crowd for the second show. But we followed all of Hendricks County's nonsense, and we got two pretty good shows with Haywood Banks as he made his return.
I wish I could have made that show.
Yeah, she didn't even show up, but look, other people picked up the slack for you. So
Thank goodness. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. Several things coming up in the future. We want to highlight that before we get our first call in here. And one thing that basically what we're plugging right now, what the advertisement is for tonight, is the Country Rewind Tour. This is actually a show we kind of brokered. It's a different promoter that's put this show out, but it is Wade Hayes and Bryan White, our guests tonight. They're both going to be part of the Country Rewind Tour, and the first shows that we helped provide the venues for are in Indianapolis and in Louisville, at the Irving Theater and at Diamond Pub in Louisville. So that is at countryrewindtour.com. You can also scroll down farther and find the Evansville, Indiana show. That's another one that is Mad Hatter assisted, and that one's going to be at KC's Timeout Lounge. So pretty good here, and we're I think going to pull up a clip here of one of the artists that's on that tour.
And that's the Bryan White one?
Yep.
Okay. Let's check it.
For all the times I felt cheated, I complained. You know how I love to complain. For all the wrongs I repeated, though I was to blame, I still cursed them God gave me you to show me what's real.
Bryan is joined by Darryl Worley and Wade Hayes on the Country Rewind Tour at countryrewindtour.com. You can also find the links on the Mad Hatter shows and Mad Hatter music page. So, all right, that's what we got. We got a comedy show coming up then, too. Danielle, tell us about that.
Etta May, where am I at?
I made it big again. I
know,
made it big here for you.
See Etta May live at the Irving Theater in Indianapolis, May 15th. Tickets at madhattershows.com.
Uh-huh. You had the birds and bees talk with her yet? You learn anything? Wish I'd had a pad of paper when I talked to my daughter. My husband would still have a smile on his face.
All right, guys. Eddie May's actually going to be the guest on the next podcast, too. So you'll want to tune in for that here on April 21st. Spoiler alert. Got another show coming here in May. Let's look at that clip.
You guys, let me just get this out of the way if I could very quickly, just to get it out of the way. Thank you. I call that the death of me. I know that someday I'll be in my casket and someone will come over and go, oh, that's too bad. Let's just bop his head one more time. No, it's going to happen.
It's Chris Kattan, Doug from Night at the Roxbury. Chris Kattan and Friends will be May 19th through 23rd. We've got shows in Lafayette, Hobart, Franklin, Terre Haute, and Richmond. Tickets at madhattershows.com.
Having a kid is like putting all your money into asbestos. Dangerous, causes disease, and if it's yours, you're liable for it. They're just little disease-filled skin bags passing on to you every disease that's floating through its preschool, man. Preschool, just a viral hot zone full of patient zeros, that's all it is. A room full of tiny sociopathic humans who can play board games while sitting in their own feces. That's mental patient behavior.
June 10th, Christopher Titus in Hobart at the Art Theater. Tickets at madhattershows.com.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, make some noise. That's what I do, so you make some noise. I make noises all the time, and I get in trouble for doing just that, and I like it. I just cannot help it. It's just a part of my being, a part of me. I mean, I think about it. When I was a kid, we didn't have caller ID. Which meant you could go on the phone book and look up Mr. and Mrs. Boner. There's a boner in every phone book. I've been to Regina. Remember the movie Gremlins? I was in that movie. Did not see me, but you heard me. Okay, two kinds of gremlins. There was the nice, cute Mogwai, Howie Mandel, Mogwai, remember? Yeah. Do you remember the other gremlin? The mean, nasty butthole gremlin with the Bobby Brown haircut before Bobby met Whitney? That was me. I cannot believe somebody paid me to make a noise. I got paid to go. I just got a check.
Michael Winslow is the king of sound effects. See him in Indianapolis or Louisville, June 11th or 12th. Tickets at madhattershows.com. Oh, my prom. Jägerbomb prom. So we're actually almost sold out. There are 2 tickets left. So if you want to go, I would recommend getting them tomorrow, maybe today. It's going to be awesome. Red carpet, prom photos, like traditional prom photos. Neil, are you coming with?
You know what? I don't know that. Yeah, you said you have 3 tickets left, so probably a couple will come, and then I'll just show up and drink sadly in the corner.
For a couple. Each ticket's
so
for a
there's
couple.
3. Okay.
You could bring John with you.
I don't know if I want John there.
You could wear your T-shirt tuxedo.
I don't know. We'll see about it. That sports bar is a cool place to go to. That just might not be the spot that I go to. That might not be the right night.
That's fine.
That might be.
I didn't think you were that cool anyways.
All right, Jägerbomb Prom, that sports
May
bar
21st.
in Lebanon, Indiana. So you can find that sports bar also on Facebook and like them and follow up with everything they do. Hear the owner's kind of cool. So
I heard she sucks.
one other video too. This is kind of a country artist, kind of a unique, a little bit different than the folks that we have coming up later tonight. So let's see the clip here for Second Chance.
I don't know if this girl done done to me, but it sure ain't fair. As soon as I seen it, brother, I couldn't help but stare. Had me hypnotized with those mystic eyes and that beautiful hair. Rocking them cowgirl boots and her Daisy Dukes. I said, get over here. Yeah, yeah. Come on, baby girl, you know I gotta have it. Give me some of the country girl magic. Come on, baby girl, you know I gotta have it. Get at me, country girl.
Second Chance. Some people ask, is he a rapper? Is he a singer? Is he a country singer? The answer is yes to everything. He can do all kinds of different styles. Actually, the dude that's doing the arm wrestling in the video there, he was actually at our show in Richmond. And then Strizzo asked me to do security for the meet and greet line. And I'm like, I think this guy a little bit more qualified to do that. But
possibly.
We've had Second Chance for a number of shows so far. The next two that are coming up are August 20th and August 21st. August 20th in Cincinnati at the Redmore. August 21st at Diamond's Pub in Lebanon in Louisville. So that's what's going on there.
So my question is he single?
You know what? I don't keep track of his personal life. That's
He's pretty cute, that's all.
You know what? We will probably have him on the show, and you can ask him.
Okay, I will.
And it'll be awkward if his
I'll ask it
answer
for
is
everybody
different.
else.
So
Not
that's
for me.
all right. It's like every week I print out my little list here of like everything that I think how the show should go.
And in what order?
And then it's chaos. But the good news is we've got our first call-in guest. He is on time. Let's get him pulled up on the screen here. Can you hear us, Wade?
I got you.
Wade Hayes, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight.
I'm glad to be here. How are you?
I'm doing all right. This is Danielle.
Hi.
Hey, Danielle.
I scribbled down some of your song titles here.
Okay.
Old Enough to Know Better.
Right.
On a Good Night. Tore Up from the Floor Up. Drinking Thing. Good Day to Go Crazy. You're probably a little bit different than you are on stage, but from those titles, it sounds like only one of us could hang with you if we were partying, and it's not me.
Yeah, that was my much younger days. All of those
You sound like a good
tunes
time.
were
So
in my 20s.
So you're not going to be doing a song like that these days. It's a little different.
Oh, yeah, just a little, yeah. Yeah, but back in the day, as the people say, I did a lot of the honky-tonkin'. When I was young, especially if I wasn't playing in one, I was out honky tonkin'. So,
right.
Yeah,
what
still a
is
lot of fun,
honky tonkin'? That's that you're using it as a verb. Could you, for the folks at home that don't know what honky tonkin' is? What's is that a common
just,
term?
You know, hanging out, listening to live music, out dancing, hanging out with your friends, and you know the country clubs, country bars. When I was a kid, yeah.
All right, good deal. So, are we going to get that at the Country Rewind tour, or are we going to get an older, more reserved Wade Hayes?
There will be an older, more reserved Wade Hayes singing the young, raucous Wade Hayes song. But yeah, you know, you write of what you know, and back then, that's what I knew about. So these days, the songwriting is quite a bit different. But you know, you move on and you grow up. But
you learn some things.
Awesome.
Yeah,
so
hopefully you do. Yeah.
So I'm doing some research on this because honestly, in the '90s, my musical tastes were a little angrier music. Like I was listening to that kind of stuff. Your first song went to #1. Is that?
Yeah.
Your
the
first single
song,
ever?
There were 3 different charts that they went by back then. I think most people, you know, just for ease, they recognized Billboard, but there were 3 different charts they used back then, and. The first song went to #1 for a couple of weeks, and then the second one went to #1 on 2 of the charts, and I ended up with I think 3 #1 totals back then, and like 7 top 10 hits.
Couldn't tell you anything back then, right? Like, you couldn't tell you anything. Like, you're top of the world probably at that point. Your first album does all that.
I was way too young for that to be happening.
How old were you?
I was 24, I think, when we recorded the first album, and 25 when I had my first bit of hits. So,
So you're getting all the ladies, I'm assuming.
Oh gosh, not with a mug like this. I had a great time, the best time of my life. It was an amazing. I was a very young, as I mentioned, country boy from a very small town in Oklahoma, and I had never even really been out of the state of Oklahoma. And then all of a sudden, I'm flying everywhere. Had never even been on an airplane, and I'm flying all over the United States and just living the dream for sure. It was an incredibly magic time.
Did you grow up playing in small little bands or just?
I did. I grew up playing lead guitar for my dad. He had a band, and that's what I was doing back then. That's mainly what I wanted to do when I moved to Nashville, was play guitar for somebody else and write songs. But I ended up writing a couple of number ones and got a record deal. It really wasn't in the plans to do that, but that's just the way it worked out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was. Very fortunate.
I can imagine. Yeah, your top album, your first album ever, and you're already at the top of the charts. How do you follow that up? Like, did you have a tremendous amount of pressure for your sophomore effort, or how'd that go?
Yes, there was a lot going on with the second album, as you can imagine. We had 4 or 5 top 10, top 10 singles off the first record, off the first album. And there was an enormous amount of pressure from the record label and everybody to, at least do that again on the second record. And it's next to impossible. And they, of course, were really, really pushing to get the second record out. And I didn't feel like, and really nobody except the powers that be felt like it was ready. And it's, hindsight, of course, is 20/20, but it's tough. It's tough to repeat that, especially, you have so much time to work on your first record, and then your second record, you don't have any time at all.
And all the pressure.
Yeah, you're playing all the time, and there's no time to write, no time to do it, and visiting radio stations, whatever,
The writer's block would probably be a real thing, I would assume.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it's still to this day. I have a lot more time these days, of course, but it comes and goes still to this day. I don't know how that switch gets flipped on and off, but it certainly does. And it just, one day I'll read the right book and it'll turn on and songs start falling out. So it's weird.
What did it feel like? I'm assuming you played at some smaller venues, like maybe little bars or pubs, and then going straight into number one single huge places.
Yeah.
Was it scary?
It was very scary. I just, that term "fake it till you make it" is so true. And that's exactly what I was doing. We went, I had the first 2 singles went number 1, and I went on tour with Tracy Lawrence immediately. And then straight from that to the Brooks and Dunn tour for 2 years. And we were playing Coliseums at this point.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was just, I look back on those days and just think, gosh, how fortunate I was to get to do that. And still to this day, I get to play guitar and write songs for a living. So I'm still feel very fortunate. But that time was I can't stress that enough, that it was just an amazing time. Very thankful.
Well, this is called Rewind Tour because you guys all had hits in the 90s. Tell me about all 3 of you. You're going to all be on stage at the exact same time? Is that how the setup is?
Yeah, we get up together and we play on each other's tunes. We all know each other's tunes. We're all friends, have known each other a long time, especially Bryan and I. We've known each other a long time and good friends. And, we've all had hits and enjoy each other's music and company. And it's a really good time. I love picking their songs. So.
Nice. Do you do any of their songs better? Is it like a competition where you're one-upping?
I wouldn't even try. Those guys are great. They're very talented songwriters and singers, and I wouldn't even attempt it. But I love to sing harmony with them. As I mentioned earlier, that's what I grew up doing and always felt like that's what I was better at. than being the lead guy. So I feel very comfortable in that role and love it still.
It seems like in country, it's not taboo, I guess, for you to do somebody else's song. You see, I mean, sometimes the same song is on the charts by two different artists or whatever. So,
yeah, I've seen that happen a couple of times, and I think that's when that does happen, the other person was not intending for it to happen. It just kind of accidentally does happen. I've seen it happen a couple of times, though.
Yeah.
Friendly competition.
Well, you seem like a very humble guy. Let me tell you this. One of my favorite modern hymns is called In Christ Alone, and you've got a version that's probably the best I've ever heard. So that was really neat to discover
I love that song. I think that means a lot to me. I love that song. And that's, these days, I've the past 10 or so years have had their moments that were pretty trying. And, that music has come to mean a lot to me. And I've tried to do something on each album since the last decade to do some sort of non-secular tune on there. And that is definitely one of my favorites.
Fantastic. I hang out in a barbecue bar. I just moved to the Speedway section of Indianapolis, and my spot is a place where they can't play the volume on the basketball game, so Touch Tunes is always going. And let me tell you, when you're eating barbecue and you're drinking beer, Wade Hayes fits. Your catalog is you belong in that bar. I was playing your stuff the other day.
When you're in a joint like that, you are my people, and that is a fact. That's who I cater to. That's who I love. That's who I am. And, of course, me being a country boy from Oklahoma, and I still am, I live on a little farm here in Tennessee now. And I've always been drawn to that way of life and still to this day. So very comfortable there. I'm glad to be there.
You've got a deep voice now, but when you sing, it's like authoritarian. Like if he called in, like if I worked in a call center and you're like, I want this charge taken off my account, I'd just be like, okay. You know what I mean? Like it's,
absolutely no problem.
I can't tell how tall you are from when you're sitting there or whatever, but it's something about your voice. It's just like, you can command a presence, and it works very well on record too.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I've thought a lot about that. And of course, I'm pretty soft-spoken. I've come to realize why that is. I think, anyway, this is my theory. And, to get my voice at a volume where the microphones pick it up well or whatever, I've had to, put a lot of power, and it just kind of naturally happens. It just kind of modulates that way, I guess is the term. I don't know what you would say, but that's the reason it sounds like that, because it's naturally pretty quiet. So.
Awesome. Well, a lot of people know your music from the 90s, and maybe as you got less radio play or less exposure as time went on, they might not know what's happened since then. Tell us about the song, Is It Already Time?
Well, that is a tough one that I do not do anymore. As I mentioned a while ago, things kind of changed the last decade, and I got sick. I was in 2011, so 10 years ago, was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And was not expected to make it. I had it really, really bad. And it's truly a miracle that I made it through that. I made it exactly after the first surgery and all the chemotherapy and all that business. I made it exactly a year, and I got it again, the exact same thing. So I got to repeat the process. So more surgeries and more chemotherapy, but truly a miracle that I'm still here, and I'm very, very thankful. I'm glad when people bring that up, because I need to remember it. Sometimes I forget and start acting like my old a-hole self. It's good to remember those things. So thank you. But
do not play it because
the initial diagnosis.
Yeah, do not play it because it's a hard song to come up with, like because it reminds you of that, or is it just because it's no longer relevant?
That takes me to a tough spot. When I wrote that song, I was scared to death, and I had heard that I probably was in a bad shape, and I had started reading statistics. That's what happened, and realized how much trouble I was in. They said, about 5% of people, when they're diagnosed with as bad as I had it, make it, and I realized that I was in trouble. So that song was kind of my therapy, and I wrote it, and then I actually had met a man who was diagnosed similar to me. And he was still alive and doing well after 8 years. And once I realized that it could be done, I was ready to fight. And I put my head down and started moving forward. And thank God every day I made it through it.
Told you this guy was tough.
That's
Cancer
awesome.
can't even beat him. So that's an incredible story.
That's amazing.
It's a butt kicker, man.
You don't have anything?
No,
here?
that's
I feel
amazing.
like I feel like I'm dominating the conversation now. But yeah, do you
I'm
have
sorry.
people that have had a similar diagnosis reach out to you about that song? I imagine you helped people, right?
Well, yeah, I was I was very public. I'm typically a very private person, but I was very public about what was going on after I had made it through that, because just the fact that I had mentioned to you earlier that I met that guy, and it made such a big difference just knowing it could be done. It was a game changer. So I started letting people know, and I did a lot of public speaking, and I did a big campaign for a pharmaceutical company out in San Francisco, and just trying to help people as much as I could. And I've done a lot of speaking one-on-one with people. And I actually written another song called Go Live Your Life that was kind of, letting people know this ride is short and we're not guaranteed tomorrow. It doesn't matter how young and healthy you are not guaranteed tomorrow. And so, just make the most of it. And that's what Go Live Your Life is all about. And make sure the people you love know you love them, and find those things that matter in life. So.
Awesome. You've got a lot of you can pull off emotion on songs. I was listening. I kind of went into a crash course on the folks that are on this podcast tonight and listened to all this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I almost started crying during Family Reunion, if you remember that song.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that was on the first
cow.
record. That is one of the most amazing songs. My friend Chick Raines, who I wrote all the first hits with, wrote that song. And it is... it is one of those gut bucket, tear jerking country tunes. It's an incredibly well written song, and I'm amazed that you listen to it. It's a great song.
You know what? It was recommended on Apple Music. There's like the essential Wade Hayes list, and it's on there.
No
so
kidding.
yeah, it came through. I was like, if it's essential, I got to listen to it. So.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
So tell us about your new single, the newest one here.
Yeah, that's another song that I wrote about. 2020 was a very difficult time for everybody, and it was very difficult here at the Hayes house as well. But the current single is a song called "Who Saved Who," and it's about this old dog that I found on the side of the road at a filling station in the middle of the night, about 10 years ago or so. Yeah, almost 11 years. And I'd stopped to get gas. And this dog, he was rail thin, covered in ticks, had holes in him. That's him right there. He jumped up in my truck out of nowhere, and he had a pizza crust hanging out of his mouth. And he just jumped up and sat down like he belonged there. And I talked to the people at the filling station, and they said he'd been hanging out there for 3 days and he was a stray. And so I took him home, and that dog turned out to be the best dog I ever had in my life. And he went through all of the cancer stuff with me, and I loved him very, very much. But he unfortunately got old and sick, and he passed away last year. And kind of during the middle of all that horrible stuff that was going on in 2020. And but the song is about him, and what an incredible difference he made in my life. And he came around right when I needed him. And there were a lot of times when it was just he and I, when I was going through all that stuff. And he was, I felt like one of the biggest reasons I did recover so quickly, because, those dogs need to be taken care of and walked, and we would walk every day, a mile in the morning and a mile at night, and it really, really helped me as much as it did him. So
you were helping each other out.
He was an incredible dog. I loved him. Just funny, full of life, hilarious. He'd smile on command, and he was very charming and funny dog, and I miss him very much.
I think you just laid out the plot to a Hallmark movie. So maybe if somebody's watching this, like, this sounds like
something my mom
Who
would
Saved
watch.
Who, the Wade Hayes story. It needs to be on.
Well, hey, every word of that song is true. Every word of it, and it's fun and funny and sad all at the same time. But if you've ever had a dog that you loved, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
And your number one first single you ever released is "Old Enough to Know Better." So you've definitely matured in your music too.
That's what I was talking about earlier. The songwriting has definitely changed. And it's growing up though. That's all it is. I'm certainly not a young man anymore, and I look at things differently. And I'm, you like I said, not a kid, and it changes your. You live a lot and go through some stuff, and it changes your attitude. So.
Look at this young kid on the screen right now.
Yeah. Look at that. Isn't that funny?
Hey, can I get his number?
How funny. Hey, who was that guy you were playing when I tuned in earlier? That was a cool song.
I was going to ask you if you were familiar with hip hop, the whole movement right now, the kind of the subgenre of country where they rap.
I have not heard
as
of
well.
that, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so he's. I guess it kind of started with like Cowboy Troy back in the day,
Cowboy Troy really well.
Now the Upchurch is he's released a country album and a rap album, and he's hit #1 on the independent charts with both of them. He's an artist we work with. But Second Chance started out, I believe, we're gonna have him get his story on one of these future podcasts. But he started out as kind of like the Christian genre rapper, and then he kind of switched over, and then he's a Southern guy. And he's had influences with country influences and music, that type of stuff. So it's like country samples and stuff. And turns out the guy's got some pipes and he can sing. So now he sings straight country stuff too. He's a really cool artist. But you'll actually have he has a DJ there, just like a regular rap concert, and then all of a sudden you'll hear the fiddles in the background, and it's just it's a wild show. But he's very talented. He can sing R&B. He can rap. He can freestyle. He can sing country.
Very diverse.
Yeah, that tune you were playing when I tuned in was I thought was really cool. It had a great melody to it, really catchy.
And when you came out, you didn't have any interest or any inkling even to, hey, we should have a rap break on this. Like that wasn't a thing back then on the country chart.
It was not a thing back then.
Things have evolved a little bit.
My wife was a cousin to the guy that kind of started that, John Rich.
Big and Rich.
Yeah, he introduced my wife and I. And she's his cousin, and I think John is the guy that kind of got all that stuff started, and he with Cowboy Troy, but that I loved their first album. I thought it was great. So.
Yeah, it's like I was in the '90s. It was like like the white bands. Like it wasn't even metal anymore. It moved on to like alternative, and it was whiny and all this kind of stuff. So
in the '90s, I think I was listening to.
I turned into I was listening to like rap music and stuff when I was in high school. That was my thing. And what's funny is back in the day though, even if you listened to rap music, even if you were like this is mainly what I have. Like you still had there was a couple essential. You still had Garth Brooks in your CD case. Remember like the big CD album?
Yeah.
It was like
everybody had that.
And the guys that listened to nothing but country would still have like the Dr. Dre Chronic CD. Like it was
absolutely.
Do you listen to different genres of music? What else do you like that might surprise some people that you listen to?
Well, I do have a pretty eclectic musical taste. And I will say I'm not a big fan of rap, but I like more musical stuff personally. But I do love some of the older metal, some of the newer stuff too. I like. But something that might freak people out. I really like Slipknot.
Wow!
I would never have guessed that.
Oh yeah, those guys are really talented. They're good players and good singers, But
that's really cool.
I like, especially when I'm working out. I like the hard stuff like that. And
same angry music to work out
pumped.
to.
And there's some classical music, especially played on guitar, that I love. I love jazz. So, it's mainly, I'm just looking for something to move me. Of course, country is my first love, especially traditional country. And that's what I do. That's what I love. But I love to listen to other stuff.
Awesome. Well, we've got to make time for one of your other concert mates that are going to be here. So definitely appreciate having you here. I'm actually I go to these nerd conventions where I see like people that like when I grew up watching TV and stuff. I go to these things where I'll meet the stars and that kind of thing. So I'm going to be in Missouri on the 23rd. I might make it back in time for your Indianapolis show. If not, I'm going to be down there for Louisville on April 24th. I hope to meet you in person, grab a photo, and get my fan photo with you too.
I would love it. I've enjoyed talking to you guys. You seem like very nice folks, and I appreciate it. Good to talk to you.
Thank you so much. CountryRewindTour.com. You can get tickets for his show with him and Darryl Worley and Bryan White. So thank you so much. We'll see you here in a few weeks.
Sounds good. Can't wait, guys. We'll see you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What an incredibly nice guy! Holy cow!
Slipknot.
This is the Slipknot. That's
I don't even listen to Slipknot.
The Hellraiser from all the drinking videos. He's got a song about rescuing a dog.
That was really sweet. Like you could tell he meant every word of that. That was really cool.
Super, super nice guy. So we're very fortunate that we were able to get him on the show here. And they're scrambling a little bit back over there, trying to make sure we can connect to. The other portion of the show that we advertise. So tell me a little bit more about the Jaeger Bomb prom, because we kind of just hear like, hey, there's 3 tickets left, but tell us about your bar a little bit and tell us about that event specifically.
So that sports bar, I've owned it now for 2 years. We're doing really big things. I'm actually working on buying the building right now. Even through COVID, we've turned it around and we're doing really great. We just had our huge St. Patty's Day party. It was huge, 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 huge. And because of that, I wanted to work off the coattails of the excitement of that party. That's why we're doing a Jaeger Bomb prom. Who doesn't want to have a chance to take their wife and their husband, get all dolled up, take real cute or dorky prom photos? I think it's a great idea. It's just something fun. It's a gimmick. We're all buying actual prom dresses. So in the juniors section at Macy's is where I was shopping. But no, it's going to be a good time. We have red carpet and spiked punch, and it's just something to do. Lebanon doesn't have a lot to do, so.
I hear that your first comedy headliner was pretty good. That's what I was heard.
Was that you?
That was me. That was. Hopefully we'll get some more shows.
I think I was working in the kitchen.
I'm
sorry.
You
I'm
didn't
sure you were
see
great
me that night, but that was the first show. That's actually how I met Danielle. Was I got booked to perform where she's at. Hopefully when the weather gets warmer, we'll do more of those outdoor shows there.
Yes, on the patio. The nice
Fantastic.
weather.
We've got that going on. So, thing with live podcasts is sometimes you have to buy time, and here we are buying time. So,
buying time.
Quick rundown here of future shows we have coming up. This weekend, April 10th in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Moose Lodge. It's going to be Donnie Baker featuring me, Neil Snyder.
I want to go to that. When is it?
It's this weekend. It's on Saturday, so we're going to need you to.
I work noon to 7. I'm bartending. Sorry.
All right. Well, he's coming closer, and we've got several Donnie Baker shows. So actually, if you get on MadHatterShows.com, you can find all the ones that we're promoting. I think it's the majority of the ones that are on his website right now, and we are traveling all over. We're going to be going into Wade's neck of the woods in July, to Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Lawton, Oklahoma. We're actually going to be in Kansas. We're going to be in Missouri. We're going to be in Texas.
Can I be a groupie and I just travel to all these shows with you guys?
You could be, but
I don't know if that's somebody else to run the bar.
Yeah, it's I would love to get you to tag along. Now we're coming back to Indiana, and actually I won't be his opener on all those shows because some of these cities I'm kind of. Like I've gone up a lot in, and people know my jokes already. So, like I just did Plainfield. So in Plainfield,
come up with some new ones.
I could, but I hate doing new stuff in front of a crowd that spent $40 on tickets. You know what I mean? So
that's fair.
I'll work that out, and I'll show up later in the year with stuff that I know is going to work. But yeah, he'll be in Plainfield and he'll be in Lafayette. So you're kind of equidistant from there, and you ought to be able to
get to one of those.
Make one of them.
Absolutely. I'll do that.
Absolutely. So yeah. Yeah, Wade was a really cool guy. I don't know if Wade's going to be the only guy we had on the show or not. We're kind of we got some background stuff going on right now, so definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. And I just heard a doorbell, so I think we're getting there. He is. That's who we're waiting for. Bryan, can you hear us?
Hello.
There you are. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I can hear you now. I've been trying to get in. I promise. For some reason, it kept saying that. There was already a meeting in progress, so I just kept exiting and then getting back in. So
it could be that Wade Hayes is such a nice guy we didn't want to hang up on him. That's probably what it is. We just had a lot of fun talking to him, so I guess he's your buddy.
You can't go wrong with that guy. He is definitely one of the nicest people on the planet.
Seems like it.
Fantastic. So you're driving on the road right now. You're safe to talk to us, right? Like you're.
I am, yes.
The Uber driving.
Fantastic, awesome. So we're plugging this Country Rewind tour. Tell us about it. You're the middle face on the poster. 3 guys on stage at the same time. How's that thing? Who even came up with that? Getting you all together at once.
Am I on with other guys?
It's just you.
It's just you right now, but
me. Okay,
on the stage. No, on the stage for Country Rewind tour.
Yeah, we've been doing so much press. Sometimes we're all 3 on a call, and sometimes we're not. So I wasn't sure. Actually, the name, I'm not sure how the name came about. Center Stage Magazine and that whole team approached us all about being a part of it, and I think the name was already conceived. And so, I love the name, and I love the concept, and I love a little bit of the throwback nature of it, But it's been such an awesome, tour so far. One of the main things that we said the first time we got on stage, I think the first thing Darryl said was, "Boy, it's sure great to be out of the house," and everybody just laughed and laughing,
On a different note, I did a little research on you today, and I saw you sang with my girl Shania Twain. That's pretty cool. What was that like? Did you guys have a thing? I have to know.
Yes, I did, and thanks for asking. I got a phone call. I remember playing. We were playing a show in Chicago. I believe it would have been '97, and I got a call on the bus, and I don't normally, back then I didn't wake up this early, it was an early phone call for me during that time. I was one of the guys that when I was in my 20s, I slept, all day.
Absolutely.
And so I got this call, and the tour manager said it's Mutt Lange and Shania Twain on the phone, and I thought maybe it was a prank.
You jumped right out of bed, right?
Yeah, I was like, somebody's messing with me, because somebody's always pulling my leg on the bus, pulling some kind of prank. And lo and behold, it was them, and they were writing the song and asked me, they said, "Hey, we love your voice. Would you be interested in being a part of this as a duet?"
Did you have to think about it even for a second?
What's that?
I said, did you have to think about it even for a second, or were you like, absolutely?
No, I didn't think 1 second. I was in. Before I even said yes, I was already in, And so, that one thing led to another, and I was up in Lake Placid, New York a few weeks later and working hard on it. And I'll tell you what, it's by far one of the most epic experiences of my life. I'm so proud to be a part of that record, and the fact that song and that recording has been a part of so many people's lives. I'm so honored.
Yeah, I feel like even if somebody's watching right now because they're on the Mad Hatter Shows page and they're like, "I don't know this Bryan White guy." Yes, you do. If you are over the age of like 35, you could not go to a wedding or a prom or a high school dance, or there was no possible scenario where you avoided that. They had to play this song. "Wonderful Tonight" by Eric Clapton, and this song was part of every event.
He's so cute in that picture.
Look at that young guy right there.
You look like you're 15.
Well, God bless you. I am not 15 anymore.
You still look pretty good. I don't know how old you are, but
it was just such an amazing event. I'm so proud to be a part of it. And you know what? One of the things a lot of people ask me, was I nervous? And I think I was nervous, but I was so on point. I wanted to show up and really do a good job and make everybody happy and make everybody as proud. And so I walked in there kind of all guns a-blazing. And so I don't know if I was nervous as much as I was just on point and alert. I was just ready to do a good job for everybody.
Well, and like 20 million copies of that have been sold, so that full album there. They had the international version, they had the country version. I know this because I was married back then, and when I got married, I had the international version of that album, and my ex-wife had the country version, and so it was like the union of the Shania Twain discs. She also had a Bryan White. That's how I knew the name when we were booking. I was like, she had one of your CDs too. I think your second one. So it's not like you were a feature and that's your main credit. credit. You have several hits. So I was going back listening to some of these and revisiting the 90s. We're going to play a clip here of my favorite song of yours, Rebecca Jean. Tell us a little bit about the making of this song or what inspired it.
Well, I think a lot of people think of a certain particular song or a couple of songs that are kind of synonymous with an artist. And I think probably at the end of the day, that's going to be, Rebecca Lynn is going to be a song that people will always.
Did I say Jean?
You did.
I said Jean. It said I'm a poser. I'm not an old school country fan.
You know what?
I'm discovering you now.
We'll just change it to Rebecca Jean. That's okay.
The remake.
But was that song about an old girlfriend?
Put it over the Billie Jean beat or something.
Right. Unfortunately, I didn't. Unfortunately or fortunately, I didn't write that song. I wish I would have. Skip Ewing and Don Sampson wrote that one. And when I got pitched that song, I knew instantly. I didn't have to think about it. I was like, I just couldn't believe that I was afforded the opportunity for that song to land in my lap. And so I consider that a huge blessing. And it was very much me. It was very much what I wanted to sing about. I love the subject matter. And to this day, it's the one song that I cannot walk on stage or leave without having played that song,
So even though I called it the wrong name, like when I went back and listened to these songs, I picked the right one to be my favorite, right? Like that was like obviously
Good job,
I was
Neil.
like
Good
this.
job.
It sounds like an old James Taylor song or something. I don't know what it was. There's some kind of like I don't know. Do you have people that influenced you that you think maybe you sound like now, or is that kind of a coincidence when you have kind of a sound that's similar to another artist?
I think it's safe to say that. I thought when I first heard it, I thought it very much had some elements of of James Taylor with just the way that the chords moved and the acoustic guitar and all that. But as far as influences, man, there's so many. I would say my hero that I grew up, idolizing and trying to emulate is a guy named Steve Wariner. Without Steve, I wouldn't have, really gone after my dreams. Steve was my hero, and the way he phrased vocals and the way he played guitar and wrote songs is such a major influence on my life. I'd say Vince Gill, Ronnie Millsap, and then I listened to a lot of different styles of music. I loved, Michael McDonald and Nat King Cole. I mean, Ultimately, I'm a country artist, and country's where my heart is. But I really gravitated toward really great singers.
Awesome. So yeah, I've exposed myself as someone who doesn't know all of your catalog all the way through. So here's a question I have for you.
Don't feel bad. It's okay.
So you've got several number one hits, and I can go to Apple Music and it can tell me your essentials and everything we should watch and everything we should listen to. What's maybe a song that you're proud of that didn't ever get its due, that you're like, hey, you should listen to this because this is really good and it never blew up like it should have?
Oh my gosh! Well, I could probably come up with a pretty big list of those, but I'll give you one that I love that was never a single, and I wish it would have been. It was a song called "What Did I Do to Deserve You." It was on my third album, and if there was ever a song poised to represent me and what I love and what I represent music wise, that would have been one. But sometimes politics are involved, and a lot of people will say that it takes a committee. It takes a nation. Is that what they say? Is that what that say?
I know what you're thinking of, but I can't think of it either.
It takes a nation of millions. It takes a village. It takes
a village.
I don't know.
I think it's a village.
That's what it is. Yeah. So it kind of back then it was like, man, it takes a village to make a decision, and unfortunately that one didn't get picked as a single, but grateful for the ones that did.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to go back and listen to that one and this penance for misnaming the song I liked, because we had it queued up. So clearly I was on that page. So I liked it.
It's fine.
What other songs are always like when somebody sees you on the street and they just like, oh my God, I love this song? Like what comes up all the time that's like audience favorites?
Well, it's usually Rebecca Lynn, and it's usually someone else's star, and it's usually from this moment on. Those are the three that really sort of are a staple in people's minds, at least people that know about me and are familiar with my music. Those are three that usually come up when I run into people on the street for sure.
Okay, now I brought up "In Christ Alone" by Wade Hayes, which was I thought was probably the best version of that I've ever heard. While listening to your music, I heard some worship songs too. You've got a version of "God of Wonder." How did that come about? Did somebody approach you, or were you like, I just want to sing that?
Yeah, one of my best friends, he's a record producer, songwriter. His name's Michael Curtis. He was commissioned to produce an album for Time Life. Time Life, to my knowledge, had not done anything in the Department of Worship or Christian music at that time. And he asked me if I'd want to be a part of it and be a guest on the album. And I know everybody from, Rascal Flatts to, Shenandoah to you name it was on the record. And so, yeah, I wholeheartedly agreed to be a part of that. And so just a phone call, that's all it took. I was in. So I was proud to be a part of that record.
Fantastic.
So you said you know all these people. I was Facebook stalking you a little bit earlier today, and I saw that you started a podcast where you're interviewing all these friends of yours. How is that going? Do you love it? And are we sucking really bad at this podcast right now?
No, you know what? To answer your question, you don't suck, and I'll tell you why. What I've learned in the short time that I've been doing it is the more I think about what I'm doing, and the more it was almost like the more prepared I tried to be, it was like the worst job that I felt like I did. But the ones that I felt like I just showed up and I was just myself and just let the conversation go where it wanted to go. Those are the ones that really felt the most fun and the most
No more script. No more script. I've been writing a script. We just need to get rid of it and just get these guys on the phone because honestly, we do. This is our sixth show and it's our second one with Danielle, and we get some really crass comedians, and we sit here and we sling mud and we're rude to each other, and it's get a parental warning and all this. You and Wade are like the two nicest people on the planet. This is like a kinder, gentler podcast here. So this is it's a nice change of pace because it's often we had Sam Lasco from the Trailer Park Boys on here one time, and he was threatening nudity. This is very wholesome and family friendly here. So
I dig it.
So I assume Country Rewind Tour, you're getting entire families and different generations that have enjoyed your music, the shows you've had so far.
We are. It's kind of all over the map demographic wise. I mean, obviously we've got all of our thank God for them too. All the major diehard, Darryl Worley, Wade Hayes, and Bryan White fans. But a lot of them, like you said, are bringing their kids, and so you definitely have a multi-layer of demographics, and in hopes that we will, we hope to win them over too, and make them believers of our generation of country music too.
Fantastic. Well, where else can people find you besides in Indianapolis and Louisville in April 23rd and 24th? And then we've got our July show. I'm mentioning the Mad Hatter dates because those are the ones that we kind of brokered. John basically helped find the venue for you, places where we often perform other places. But other than that, where else can people find you online, or find, where would you suggest people get into being a fan of Bryan White?
Well, you can navigate just about anywhere you want to navigate to through BryanWhite.com, Bryan with a Y, and you can go check out the YouTube channel. You can navigate to the tour page, find out where we're going to be, and see where we're going to be. I mean, we're basically kind of all over the map this year, which is a huge blessing. Again, it's great to be out of the house, and then you can also navigate to the podcast and Twitter and Instagram. And I would say out of all that stuff, I'm probably the most active on Instagram. I'm a big Instagrammer. I love that.
Instagram's for the kids, so you're doing well. I'm still haven't figured it out myself completely. Like I'm lucky to get Facebook figured out, and TikTok. We haven't even tried that yet. So that's
no. Don't even get me started on TikTok. I think that feels like a really. I don't know that I'm savvy enough for that just yet.
I won't even attempt it.
Well, we mainly produce and promote comedy. We also have done some weird special events, that kind of stuff, and we kind of fell into doing some country stuff. I imagine that's how we got on the radar of your other promoter you work with, in that we, our first show, we had Todd Snyder, who I guess would be considered more folk music, but then Ryan Upchurch, who's released a country album but also does rap, was one of our first acts, and we've gotten several country rap artists that we've booked in the meantime, like Big Smo or Georgia Boys, that kind of thing. Your impressions of this younger generation, this style of music, are you a fan? And could we ever see Bryan White featuring a rap break on a song?
Well, honestly, I think anything's always possible. There's a good title for a song. Anything's always possible. Again, there's with every new generation of my genre or what falls into my genre, I mean, I think it's safe to say there's always going to be things that are not necessarily my cup of tea, but then there's always a handful of things that I really do like. I mean, so, there's music follows trends a lot of times, and I'm not always on board with all of those trends, but there's always great songs. You just gotta look for them, I mean, in fact, two of my favorite songs in the past decade were Miranda Lambert's "The House That Built Me" and then Blake Shelton's "I Lived It." Those were two songs that absolutely just floored me because I related to them. The lyrics were great, and the music was great, and the melody was great, and they both killed me. They were great songs, so it's with every new crop. There's going to be things that are not necessarily my cup of tea, and then other things that I go nuts over. So there's a lot of great artists out there for sure.
So,
awesome.
So Wade told us that he likes Slipknot. Blew my mind. Is there a band that isn't country that you love that would blow people's minds?
Let's see, a band. I'd probably name somebody you've never heard of, unfortunately. But as far as something new, I dig a lot of what I love Maroon 5. I think they're great. I don't like everything they do, but I think they're all really talented guys, and they've released some really cool music. And then if you go way, way back, there's a band that probably you don't know of, but huge fan of a band that really never saw the light of day called Jack Mack and the Heart Attack. It was kind of like a blue-eyed soul horn band, and they were featured on MTV every New Year's Eve for about 5 years in the 80s. And Glenn Fry of the Eagles produced their records. Huh. And so the singing was great. It had a great horn section, and it was one of those kind of blue-eyed soul kind of things. So
you're right. I've never heard of them, but I love that you love Maroon 5 because they are extremely talented people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do Mad Hatter events quite often now that the world's opening back up. The schedule is very full, so I always try to get my personal life and my fun stuff out of the way, and we didn't have – this is actually a reschedule that's coming up in Indianapolis, so I made plans to be at a festival that day, so I'm going to try to make it back for the Indianapolis show. If that doesn't work out, I'm going to see you in Louisville. One of my hobbies actually is going to conventions, fan stuff, getting photos with people I watched growing up, that kind of stuff. Hopefully I can get there in Louisville and meet you guys, get my fan photo there with the Country Rewind guys. I'll tell you what, the Louisville green room, we had Uncle Cy there from Duck Dynasty and his band, and that green room's nicer than where I live right now, so I may just hang out if you let me, but definitely look forward to seeing you in person. Anything else you have to tell fans here about why they should buy tickets to the Country Rewind tour?
And I just think I don't think you can go wrong. It's a fun show. You got 3 artists that have had a lot of hits collectively, and lots of great stories behind all the songs. And I think you'll hear and see a lot of passion. And for the fans that have been there since day one, I think it'll be a great experience for them too, especially if they haven't been to a show of ours. I think it's definitely poised to be a very nostalgic show for them. But lots of fun, lots of great songs, and lots of great stories.
Tell me about your hometown. What's your hometown is in Oklahoma. What's the name of that?
I grew up in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm an Okie.
Okay. Awesome. We are actually, I'm tying that in here because we've got shows in Lawton, Oklahoma City, and in Tulsa in July. So for some reason you are in that area and you want to come see Donnie Baker and me on stage, please reach out, let us know that, and you'd be our guest of honor there. Are you staying in Oklahoma now, or are you somewhere else?
Good deal. I'm glad you said Lawton because that's actually where I was born. I grew up in Oklahoma City, but I was born in Lawton, so you'll have to be sure and tell everybody in Lawton that I said hi.
Bryan White said hi. Everybody at the Vasca Theater, or Vasca, I don't even know how, I'm probably getting that wrong too. I'll be like the guy that sang Rebecca Jean, and they'll be like, who? What are you talking about? But fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking time out to be on our little podcast. Hopefully, your podcast takes off, this tour takes off, and we can work together in the future as well.
Well, it's an honor, and I'm really grateful to talk to you guys. Thanks for your time, and thanks for letting me jaw at you guys for a little bit.
We'd like to get Darryl on one of the future shows here too, hopefully before your July date. And if he's half as nice as you guys, like, we're in for a treat. So this is I'm used to folks sometimes being a diva, and so especially musicians we've worked with sometimes before, like people are kind of, you guys are just seem like the coolest guys in the world. So I mean, I'd talk to you till 11 o'clock, but our broadcast normally doesn't go that long, and at some point you're going to pull over. So please be safe tonight, and we'll see you here in a few weeks.
You too, and thank you guys again. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too.
This is like, I feel like I just need to get in a time machine and go back to the 90s because I'm getting excited for, like I wish I'd experienced some of these guys when they first came out.
I want to sit with both of them at a bar with beers and just keep talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're really nice. They've got great stories
well,
too.
and then now I could hang with them because like that is, like they're my people now. Like you were probably more of the 90s Bryan White and Wade Hayes. And we don't know if Bryan was, he
said something about 1997. I was 10.
Okay. Yeah, so you missed that. That wasn't your thing. Actually, my hometown of Crawfordsville had a country music hall that actually got national acts back then. Like Billy Ray Cyrus actually came through.
Really?
Like when "Achy Breaky Heart" was a hit, or around that time. So
that's really cool. I thought Crawfordsville was really small.
It was, and the place didn't work. It was like it was at the mall.
Okay.
But I guess I asked him if he ever did Crawfordsville, but if he did, he probably blocked it out. So that's
he doesn't remember that out of all the hundreds of shows and places.
So Country Rewind Tour. You actually can't get tickets to their stuff on MadHatterShows.com because it's actually through another promoter. So we'll try to link that on our page, though, so that you have no trouble finding tickets for that event. They're in several cities. The ones that we helped set up are in Indianapolis, in Louisville, and in Evansville. So Wade Hayes and Bryan White, looking forward to being there. And maybe they'll do a Rebecca Jean remake for me, like a remix.
Write a song for you?
Absolutely. I feel like that's what mashups, that's what DJs are for.
On the fly.
I don't know.
Do it on the fly.
I met, who's the driver? Tony
Stewart?
Tony Stewart.
So,
my grandpa was a huge fan of Tony Stewart, and I was supposed to go up there when I met him at the World of Wheels. He was there as a guest, and I was going to say, I don't really watch racing, but I had to come here and shake your hand because you meant so much to my grandpa growing up, and he was he was widowed, and he sat there and he watched you on the TV, and he had his Tony Stewart hat on and his coat and all that kind of stuff, and we made sure he had the Speed Channel, and every day he'd tell me how you did in the race, and
like it was his kid.
Yeah, like it was like, Stewart finished fourth tonight, or like that, like it was. And so I go up there and I'm looking at Tony and he's looking at me, and I was like, I don't really watch wrestling. And he was like, I don't watch wrestling either. And I was like,
Rebecca Jean.
I was like, I blew this. Yeah, like it was so. That's why you're here to offset that and
just smile and laugh. It's fine.
Yeah, there you go. And he wasn't even like, you don't know me, don't talk to me. He was just like, oh, that's a fine title. Like, I mean,
racing and country music, they're all just nice people.
Yeah, I feel like you couldn't work him up if you meant to. Like it was
maybe take his beer or his dog.
Super. That's somebody you want to. That's somebody you want to. Support.
Have a beer with and get to know.
Absolutely, super nice guys. They're singing church songs. They're beating cancer. They're
saving dogs.
They're trying to call in multiple times, even when they get a busy signal. He's like, I'm gonna call back because I'm gonna be on this show, and he's
committed.
And they're humoring us, so that's
I mean, I don't have
Let's
any
be
jokes.
honest. We're here to sell tickets. We're not here because we're good at this. We're here to sell tickets to MadHatterShows.com. So, Donnie Baker this weekend, Etta May coming up, Michael Winslow coming up, Chris Kattan coming up, Second Chance coming up, Christopher Titus coming up. Holy cow, what a lineup!
Didn't I see Pauly Shore somewhere too?
Pauly Shore this fall in Saginaw is going to be another show that we have. We worked with a lot of times with him, and we're happy to have a 2021 date with him. So, fantastic. So, can I mention that name?
Yeah.
We have an unannounced show that's going to be announced soon. Preacher Lawson will be in, I believe, Hobart, Indiana, and somewhere in Wisconsin, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So you guys heard that first. Preacher Lawson from America's Got Talent is going to be on. We've even got some other shows I can't say yet.
I want to know.
I will tell you off the air. But
okay, fine.
Check out MadHatterShows.com. Follow us on Mad Hatter Shows on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We're going to be back in a couple weeks. We're going to have Etta May on the show in 2 weeks. Etta May, it's going to be a good time. You've been botching her promo. She's probably going to have some words to say with you.
I didn't do that bad this time.
No, it's this one wasn't your fault because the clip wasn't up
the guy behind
yet.
the computer screen screwed it all up.
It was my fault. It's fine. It was mine.
So she's probably going to have words for us because she speaks her mind. That's definitely
my kind of lady.
So we're going to have fun with that. Hopefully, are you going to be here for Etta May? Are you going to make that happen?
I'm gonna make it happen. I'll be
that
here.
happen. It's gonna be like the 18th time you're on. I'm gonna be like, are you gonna be here the 19th time? And it's gonna be like we never know.
Yeah.
We're happy that you've taken a seat on that chair there. So.
Even though I screw everything up every time.
I put it in orange. I put it on here, and
big
then
print, big print.
And then Brian White's like, the best podcasts don't have just
scripts.
we wing them.
Yes.
So we may just wing it next week.
I love that idea.
Yeah. I try to. I wing it, but I keep notes. Like I keep.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I think it's good. An outline.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is what we call garbage time right now. So we're gonna probably wrap this whole thing up. Do you have any fabulous words of wisdom to close this out?
I don't think. No. I got nothing. Put me on the spot.
All right. Well.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry.
This is what we do. Somehow they keep letting us come back and doing this, and we keep selling tickets, and you guys keep coming out, and you guys were great. Thanks to everybody that came out to the Haywood Banks show this weekend. Thanks for all the folks that said my set was good. That's fantastic. I love it when I'm selling merchandise and somebody wants to take a picture with me.
You have merchandise?
I know. I'm selling Haywood's merchandise because he's the star. But I'm like, I'm playing the grunt there. I'm doing the work, and they're like, hey, you were good too. Like I'll take that. I will. This is what I do. Is I just hang out with people that are very good at what they do, and we hang out. So maybe these guys will let me sing with them in Louisville. I don't know. That's probably not.
We need to hear you sing now.
Probably
right
not.
now.
No.
Yep. Sing a line or something.
That's not good. I am the second. I'm actually the best singer in Mad Hatter shows. That's another
You've got a
special.
deep voice. I think you could pull something.
That's another
off,
special episode if we ever. The Mad Hatter John Payne. He's like a top 10 worst singer I've ever heard. So it's pretty bad. So no, actually I did sing. I sang in my senior year. They said the concert choir got to do it in New York City on a trip. So I was like, yeah, and I had to audition, and like I was like the only guy that auditioned that his voice had changed. So they're like, you're the bass too. So I was like I never got to sing any like melodies or anything. It's just like hit this note, and here we are. They're probably going to cut. They're probably going to cut the last 7 minutes of this shit. Honestly, it's going to be like
done.
We're done.
We're done listening to your bullshit.
There's John, the terrible singer. He makes his cameo there as well. John Payne. He's the guy to thank if you're enjoying all this, or if you're like, why did I sit through this disorganized orange show, and why am I still watching this? He's the guy that's the mastermind behind here, the Mad Hatter, if you will. We'll see you on April the 21st with Etta May. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Bye.